If you are also thinking of investing in Dubai's booming real estate market, stop and watch this first. Guys, I'm Shireen Kapoor. I'm a legal consultant here in UAE, and I do know that real estate problems that people later on face. So I'm going to tell you some of these important tips and things that you need to watch out so that you don't fall in the trap, because I know there's always a pressure of submission, of missing out, there's a FOMO, there's a drive of the glossy real estate market. So just to give you a background, smallest of clause can later become really big legal hassles here in UAE, and then you end up having no legal way. You don't have any way out of that situation. So it's better, because these are agreements, these are contracts that you can review with the developer. There are certain things you can do beforehand. At least apprise yourself if you can't get it changed. So today I'm going to tell you these top 5 tricks, especially to watch out in your sale and purchase agreement, which if taken rightly, if done rightly, or maybe given it a legal angle, maybe you read it like a hawk, then you probably don't get into any trouble. So one of the first clause that I would really recommend you guys to at least go through it, at least know your rights, is the clause wherein the handover is delayed by the developer. Now what happens, see, sometimes the broker will tell you it's only 12 months, sometimes the broker can say it's 24 months, but actual handover is in 36 months. So your calculation, the leverage that you were about to use for resale, it's all gone down the drain, and you lose the purpose of why you initially started investing. And especially I feel that what kind of penalty are you gonna get when the developer is getting into any kind of delay? Is the penalty as much as the amount that you could have leveraged if in terms of return on investments, or you would have thought, maybe you would have planned your financial this thing in such a manner that you would have thought, okay, I will get the handover at this particular date, and then this is my plan XYZ, but it didn't go accordingly because there's a handover delay. And what is the penalty? If it's just peanuts, then what's the point, right? Of course, when there is a cancellation of project, the DLD comes into play, and there are certain things DLD will do, but that's a different ball game. Here we are just talking about a delay from the developer, a clause to be mindful of. The second clause that I would love that you guys pay notice to and be wary of is that there should be an escrow account for the off-plan project. Now in Dubai, it's the law. You understand, it's the law for the developers. They have to register a project, they have to have an escrow account. If they are doing some kind of pre-launch, etc., and they're collecting money in another bank account and then having those clauses, wherein the arbitrary clauses that we will put the money in escrow at a later point of time, or sometimes you or your broker are not aware that there is an escrow account that needs to be there. That is also when you need to ask the question to the developer, where is the escrow account, what is going to happen with the escrow, where am I going to put the money? Because if you do it in any other account, it's like a private deal that you've done, in which DLD cannot help you later on. But yes, you will have a legal complexity to get back that money. So why would you even want to get into that hassle? Because I still know in the market that there are some developers selling the project without escrow, and that's a big red flag. The third thing that I've noticed, and I see a lot of brokers bringing some clients to me in terms of something which could have been really, which could have been taken care of in the start and not exposed the buyer to such an extent. And that brings me to my third point, that is that the SPA should be in approved DLD format. Now, the first 60 page of an SPA, the Dubai Land Department has a regulation to it, and you will have that set format. It's a very neutral playground for both the developer and the buyer, so it's very important those 60 pages are non-editable by law. But that is where I come in, is the rest 20 to 30 pages that the SPA might have, because those are the clauses where the developer would like to play in terms of payment plan, terms, etc. All these stuff where you can be later on facing some issues. So that is where I come in and check that these 20-30 clauses or 20-30 pages don't override or supersede the clauses that are already there by DLD. Of course, sometimes that's not enforceable in the code of law, but then again it all depends on because you've signed the agreement in the written agreement later on. So it's very it's very a complex kind of a situation to get that enforced or non-enforced. So it really depends. So watch out for this clause as well, wherein you see that the DLD set formats are being followed. The fourth point is very essential when it comes to in case of dispute from either side. So that's a non-negotiable clause that should be there. A non-negotiable clause should actually not be there. There should be some room of negotiation for either the breach from the developer side or the breach from the buyer side. Now, I wouldn't say there's this one specific clause. I would say the entire agreement in its totality as a holistic approach, the agreement should be giving room to you also as a buyer to negotiate in case you are not able to arrange the balance payments, there is some handover issues, there is some penalty to you. Of course, the developer will have this clause. It goes without saying that if the buyer does not pay, he pays X amount of money or he loses the X amount of deposit. But do you have the same clause for the developer if there is some kind of forced cancellation, you're not being promised the unit you were being given? So there are so many things that you need to put it, but always have the agreement in such language, at least the term, wherein there is scope of negotiation, there is scope of you to sit with the developer or the developer to at least offer you partial refund in case there is any kind of problem or termination of the agreement from your end, maybe because of money issue, financial issues, etc. Anything. It could be it's a force majeure situation, nobody's seen what's happening. So it's very important that in such agreements there is scope of negotiation, and that is where there is a clause of arbitration, of mediation. So that is why these alternate dispute mechanisms come into play. The last point that I want to add here is that I always see that the buyers, they sometimes have unexpected charges on their head, like service charges. Let's take an example of service charge. Now, the service charge is supposed to be as per the fluctuation and the trend of that current market and as per what's happening in the market. How can you verify that? You can verify that through the Dubai Land Department website, through the Dubai Rest tab, and you can check the project, the service charges, of what's the trend there, how much is the current service charge. And the developer, usually they will not mention the service charge in your SPA in very clear terms. So it can be in undefined terms, under the just under the lines. You will have to maybe read through it. And then what happens as a buyer? Unexpected charges are coming to you. You're not thinking that, okay, this was not the maintenance I thought of, this was not the livability kind of money that I had kept for my property. So a different kind of, your entire plan changes. So service charges is something that anybody can play with you. So it's very important, whatever service charge is written in your SPA, whenever the developer is mentioning the service charge in the SPA, you also cross verify it with the Dubai Land Department's Rest app or government website, and with the project and the area, you will get to know what service charge is going on. So these are small things, wherein you can use the service of professional and save yourself from the bigger harm. It's actually just the road that you have to take. You just have to be brave and get your document vetted besides the broker through a legal angle as well, because maybe you are investing from outside, you're not here. So there are small groundwork reality which needs to be done. And if you are a smart investor, you would know that this is something that you can save a lot of money on later. So the money that you spend now, it will save you big cost later. And that's why I always say a good lawyer is somebody who will always keep you out of court. So signing off for today. If you want me to make more content on any other topic related to this, put it out in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed my video. Watch out my other videos wherein I talk about a lot about Dubai, UAE, immigration, etc. There's so much on my channel. And if you're new here, do hit the subscribe button, like and share. Thank you for watching.